Being a nice girl is a trauma response. Being a nice girl is keeping you from all the success, all the abundance, all the joy, all the fulfillment that you're seeking in your life right now. You have to understand that as women, we have been trained and conditioned to obey orders. We have been trained to abandon ourselves, to abandon our needs, to abandon our truth for the sake of saving others, for the sake of keeping peace around us. If you're a highly ambitious, highly independent woman, you have been trained and conditioned, and you've grown up in environments where you learned that in order to survive, you had to abandon yourself. You had to betray your needs. Why? Because if you didn't do it, there would be chaos. If you didn't do it, other people around you would have crumbled. And so without realizing, you forgot what your truth is. It becomes more and more difficult as a woman when we grow up in that kind of environment to learn to say no. And guess what? It becomes increasingly difficult as well to receive what we want to receive. You desire love, you desire success, you desire abundance, money, opportunities, all kinds of experience. But are you ready to receive it? Is your nervous system ready to hold the space of receiving that kind of abundance when you've been trained and conditioned to overgive? Highly ambitious, highly independent women attract energy vampires. We attract energy vampires in our relationships with our friends, with men, with work, with our businesses. Anything we do, we attract people who are takers. And it takes a lot of deprogramming, a lot of work on yourself, on your shadows, to learn how to deprogram your subconscious mind. How to deprogram your subconscious mind to not be in giver and overgiver mode, but to be in a mode where you can both give and receive. It took me years, my loves, like literally years, to realize that I had this pattern in my life, in my relationships, where I would overgive to the point where I would feel exhausted, like someone took my soul away from me. I would leave conversations, I would leave the phone with my friends, I would leave places feeling like a demon had sucked the life out of me, because I would attract people who were only interested in one thing: taking my resources, taking my energy, taking my ideas, taking my light, taking my time, taking my advice, taking my body when I was with men. Everything that they could take, they would take. And at some point I realized that I was blaming everyone around me for abandoning me, for not appreciating me, for not being faithful to me, for not being good to me, when in fact I was showing them the example in the first place. I was showing them how much importance I was giving to myself. And as women, we have the responsibility to show a great example. You're not realizing this, but you're constantly showing people how to treat you. You're showing people how to behave around you, what your boundaries are, what you accept, what you don't accept, what is right for you, what is not right for you. And people will follow your example. And so you can blame other people all you want. You can blame them. You can tell them that it's their fault, that they shouldn't treat you like that they shouldn't disrespect you, that they shouldn't abandon you, betray you. But how many times have you abandoned yourself today? How many times have you betrayed yourself today? How do you expect other people to treat you any better than how you're treating yourself? I was that woman. I was constantly betraying myself. I was constantly abandoning Mariam. I had learned this from a young age because in my family, it was so chaotic. I had grown up with two parents who would constantly fight each other to the point where I felt like I had to intervene, otherwise there would be a tragedy at home. Otherwise, I could lose one of my parents. And so I learned from a young age that if I didn't suppress my feelings, if I didn't suppress my emotions, my needs, then I would die. I wouldn't survive. Why? Because I wouldn't be able to control what would happen with my parents. And if I couldn't control it, maybe I would lose one of them or both. Maybe I would lose my parents. And I couldn't take that risk. So I learned to detect their feelings, their emotions. I learned to be a human radar. I would be absolutely incredible at detecting people's emotions. I would know just by a look at my mom's face or just by the energy of the room what was happening within their relationship. I would know if there was any risk of a fight, if there was any risk that my mom would be upset, that my dad would start to scream, or that anything could happen. And I learned to focus and put all my energy, all my intelligence, all my resources on managing, handling, and making sure that everyone around me would be protected, including myself. I tried to protect my younger sister because I wanted her to feel safer than what I felt as the older sister. And I became this control freak. I would try to control everything. This need of control has been the disease of my life with being a people pleaser. It's been the disease of my life. I've been controlled by my need to control. And most of the time, you're not going to realize that you are being controlled by your need to control other people, other circumstances around you. You're going to be controlled by that need because that need, that compulsive feeling that you should control things around you is literally making you sick. It is sucking the life out of you. You are your own energy vampire, by the way. You don't realize this. I wouldn't realize that I became my own energy vampire from a young age. I learned to drain all my energy, all my resources, and put it to survival. How to survive. I wanted to survive. And it's been an attempt for me to make things safe, make things feel safe for me, for my sister, for my family, for my parents. It would kill me. It would break my heart when I would see my mom cry, when I would see my parents fight. It would be like really heartbreaking for me. And I didn't do it in order to hurt Mariam. I never tried or wanted to abandon myself. But until the point where I realized I was abandoning myself, I couldn't fix it. So often you're going to want to be the best version of yourself. You're going to want to change everything in your life. You're going to want to build a life that makes you proud. I've been obsessed with building a life that makes my younger self proud. But the truth is, you cannot free yourself from the wounds of your past and from the weight of the past that is still on your shoulder and that is still controlling your present if you do not realize that you hold the key. You hold the key to unlock the door of your most joyful, most abundant, and most successful self. And that key is radical responsibility, radical accountability. So often I fell into the trap of blaming my parents, blaming my past, blaming the fact that we grew up poor, in a poor environment, in a city that wasn't safe. And I would blame my parents. I would be like, oh my God, if I had a better environment, if I had parents who would take care of me, I wouldn't be such a people pleaser. I wouldn't be so obsessed with controlling things. I wouldn't be this parentified child. I wouldn't be like this or that. And I fell into victim mode for so long without realizing. I would take action, and at the same time, I would blame my family. I would try to fix things because that's who we are. As hyper-independent women, we are fixers. When you're an ambitious woman, when you're a woman who has a lot of resource, when you're a woman that has been given a lot of gifts from God, you will still take action. You will still lead because you are a leader at heart. But you will be carried down, you will be pushed down by the weight of the blame and the victim mentality that you still cultivate subconsciously. If you keep repeating to yourself, it is the fault of my parents if I am who I am today. If you keep blaming your circumstances and all the traumatic events that you went through, you cannot unlock the door of your most powerful self. There is no way you can do that. A powerful woman is a woman who stops nourishing her victim self. It's a woman who starts to take radical responsibility of everything in her life. Everything is her responsibility. It's a woman who sees everything she went through as a gift from God rather than a curse, rather than a weight that she has to carry on her shoulder unfairly. The truth is, and that's a conversation that a lot of people are not willing to have today, nothing is missing from you in your life. When you start to surrender to God, when you start to put your fate in God's hands and really trust Him, you realize that every single thing you went through, even the hardest times, even the times where you were crying yourself to sleep, where you wished you weren't here, where you had the darkest thoughts of your life, where you felt like you were at your worst. Even during those times, they were there for you. Everything has always been there for you. When I realized that everything I had been through prepared me for the woman that I became, for the success, for the abundance, for the wealth, for the impact I wanted to have. When I realized that God put me in a family that was so dysfunctional, where I saw my mom be so submissive to my dad, be so dependent on my dad, emotionally, financially, in every way possible, so that I could become hungry and obsessed with building a life of independence, of freedom, of building a path, of showing the example to so many other women that they can do it too, that they are worthy, that everything in them is worthy, that they are enough, that they deserve everything that this life has offered, the best that this planet has to offer. When I realized that God created all of these things, all of these situations, so that I could build myself up, so that I could build the skills that would allow me today to mentor, to coach women, to be an example for women of what's possible when you believe in Him and when you believe in yourself. Everything changed. I would no longer see my parents as villain that I would blame. I would no longer be in resistance, in pain, in resentment in my heart, because that resentment, honestly, guys, the resentment, we need to have a conversation about resentment. Resentment is a poison that you keep feeding yourself in the illusion that it gives you justice for what someone did to you. The truth is, when you feed resentment, when you feed hate, when you feed anger in your heart, you are poisoning yourself. You are poisoning your heart, and your heart is the direct access to God. You're disconnecting yourself from God whenever you start to feed into the resentment, into the anger. And I did that so many times. I did it most of my life. And I thought it was the right way. I thought that was how I would give Mariam justice. Have you seen what resentment, anger, hate does to someone's face, to someone's health, to someone's finances, to someone's impact, to someone's love, to someone's relationships? Have you seen what it does to us? It literally destroys everything. it disconnects you from God. It disconnects you from your purpose, from your goals, from your vision, from the impact that you're here to have. And for what? For your ego to feel a temporary relief that you've acknowledged and that you're really mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad at this person. My God, they're such a bad person. They've done this and that. And what does it do to you? What does it give you? I watched my mom be so angry for so long. And I got it. I really got it. I really understood why she was angry. I understood the pain she felt. I understood how unfair things were for her. But I kept telling her, Mom, you're hurting yourself. You're punishing yourself. Resentment is a punishment you give to yourself for someone else's actions. It's the illusion that this feeling of resentment is going to give you the relief of the pain that you're feeling. You think that feeling that resentment and nourishing that hate in your heart is going to give you justice for what that person did to you. But the truth is, it's only adding to the pain. Guys, I talked about so many things and I feel like I'm not really structured in what I say right now because I just come in here and I talk to you guys and I open my heart. And that's what I want to do on this channel. I don't know yet how I'm going to do it or what's going to happen. It's all new for me. I've built 2 million followers in French, in the French community. And now it's all new for me to come in English and to talk to you guys in English. But I feel like it was time for me to do it. I have so many things to tell you. And I'm going to try and tell them to you in a way that is more structured and more clear, because I feel like I can go like for hours like this. And I want you to really benefit from all these messages that I'm here to receive and to tell you. I'm sending you so much love. God bless you.